To News at 5. Brown County officials gathered this morning to discuss the continuing misuse of opioids and fentanyl across the area. It was declared a crisis just 2 years ago. County Public Health Executive Troy Streckenbach and Public Health Officer Anna Nick both spoke at the County Aging and Disability Resource Center to talk about efforts to prevent any poisonings or death. One of those initiatives is tomorrow's Drug Take-Back Day, which helps get rid of any unwanted medication at your house. That will be held at the ADRC of Brown County from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.